being obsessed with your craft, you lose a lot of things in life. And you have to be okay with that. I lost friendships, right? When all my buddies were partying when we were 20 years old and they're hanging out in Newport Beach and doing all these things, my ass was grinding. You learn to use that aggression, that fear, that pain that you've endured in your life, and you use it for good. It's unreal how powerful it is. Okay, what's next level mind? How does mental toughness work? How does mental performance work? Why are some of these guys so much more ahead of other guys? They're not physically more talented. I mean, Miguel Cabrera couldn't run, couldn't jump, could barely throw. Dude, the guy could hit a freaking baseball and he could outsmart you any day of the week. Yeah. It's like, that's when I really started to dive into the mind.
On today's episode of the 1% Podcast, we are excited to welcome Brandon Barnes. Brandon is a sports performance specialist. He is a former professional baseball player and works with high-performance athletes all over the country. So we're excited to have Brandon here on the podcast with us today.
Nah, man, I'm stoked to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this would be great. So I love to start every podcast by letting our guest kind of like, introduce themselves to the audience a little bit. So kind of help give our audience a background on you a little bit, where you grew up, your family, siblings, parents. What did your early formative years look like, and like where'd you grow up at?
Yeah, man. So I'm originally from Anaheim, California.
Home of Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland.
Fireworks, 365 days out of the year.
In that place, dude. Yeah. We go probably every 5 years when we go back. But yeah, man, I grew up probably 5 blocks from Disneyland, about 3 blocks from Angel Stadium. Grew up just a sports fanatic.
Yeah.
I think from I was 5 years old, I've had a baseball in my hand, playing football. I grew up in low middle class. Parents divorced when I was 11, so that kind of changed some things with me, where I kind of just did my own thing. I protected my sister as much as I could, but I wanted to do whatever I wanted, right? My parents didn't have a great relationship, so I could kind of pin them against each other. I could do what I wanted.
Yeah.
But sports was always kind of that thing that held me down. My grandfather was a big part of that. He was kind of like the guy that taught me everything when it came to sports. So, went through high school, growing up, I was probably one of the better players on my baseball and football teams. Just naturally athletic, right? I was kind of gifted. And got to high school baseball, I was good, but I wasn't like, hey, this guy is going to be a phenom. He's going to go to college. But football was that sport for me. I had, going into my senior year, I had a full ride scholarship to UCLA. And let alone, I was 6 foot, 175 pounds soaking wet. So I wasn't a big guy.
Yeah.
I was just fast as hell. It's the only thing I really trained and knew how to train back then was speed. So did that. I was going into my senior year, so I want to go all in. When I do something, I go all in. I just become obsessed with it. And so I quit baseball my senior year of high school. I just said, I'm going to go all in. I need to get bigger, faster, stronger. I took my trip to UCLA, and Adrian Peterson was on it. And I'm like, dude, this kid's 6'2", 220.
Yeah.
Runs like the wind. How do I hit this guy, right? I was a safety. I'm going to have to tackle guy twice my size. So I devoted myself to the weight room. It's finally the first time I got in there and was like, I'm going to get after it. Graduated my senior year at 6'1", 210 pounds, ran a 4.40. So it just worked out. And then, at the end, right before baseball season, my senior year, UCLA cut my scholarship. So they had fired Bob Toledo, hired Carl Durrell. He wanted to bring in all his recruits, which I don't blame him. Right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
You want to bring in the guys that you recruited. So I understood it, but at that time it was too late to go anywhere else. So I had started training with the junior college down the street from my house, and I asked the high school baseball coach if I could come back to play, and they took a unanimous vote, and one guy said no, so I couldn't make it. So I just decided I'm going to train. And this is where that obsession for training and testing my body and experimenting with different things really spiked in my body and in my brain. So I took that whole year and just trained, man. I freaking got huge. I was fast. I was strong. And then we played in the baseball tournament in the middle of like the year, and we ended up going to the Little League World Series, which is technically called the Big League World Series for like 17, 18-year-olds. And I hit 8 homers in 10 games, hit like 500. And my buddies were like, dude, you got to play baseball. So I was like, I don't know, man. I've always wanted to go to the NFL. Like, I want to be an NFL player. And I was like, but if, like, I'll go to bed, I'll pray tonight. And if I wake up and God's telling me to play baseball, like, I'll sign up and take a tryout without, like, ever knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I woke up the next morning and God was telling me to play baseball. I had that on my heart. So I decided, like, hey, let's sign up for classes. And if you can get me a tryout, and I was going to go to the best junior college in the area because, like I said, if I do something, I'm going all in. So I got the tryout. I grew up a shortstop, third baseman. And so I go out there and he's like, all right, where do you play? I was like, I play third base. He goes, no, you don't, not on this team. I said, that's a bounce back from UC Davis. I was like, okay, I play shortstop. He goes, well, that's a draft pick. I said, okay, I could play first. He goes, well, our first baseman's 6'4", 235.
He's a lefty. He's got
Yeah,
long legs, long stretch.
Like everything was going against me at that point, but I was like, all right. And he goes, you played safety in high school, right? I was like, yeah. He goes, go out to center field and any ball in the air, go intercept it. I said, done, right? And so I go out there and just became natural, super easy. Like, ball in the air, go get it.
Yeah, you can go try.
And then so he had me hit, and man, I freaking hitting bombs because we were down with the coat, like down by the water, wind's blowing out. I mean, I was just dropping tanks. And so they kept me on for the fall. I ended up leading the fall in homers, RBIs, average. So it came to that point of the year where it's like, okay, we're going to keep you on. But we don't really know, like, if you're going to start, you're going to be kind of a platoon guy. So I was like, cool, man, whatever. Just know that when you give me that shot, like, it's over. And that's just like how I've always been.
Yeah.
I just have confidence in what I do. And so I got that shot. It was probably the 4th game. I didn't start the first 3 games of the year. 4th game, I think we're blowing somebody out. And he's like, hey, Barnes, go get a couple of bats. I was like, cool. I hit 2 doubles. So I got to start the next game. I think I hit 2 doubles and a homer that game. And it was over from there. I never came out of the lineup. Was a freshman All-American, inducted in the Cypress College Hall of Fame that year, and was drafted in the 6th round by the Houston Astros. So that's kind of like how everything led up to my career and where it took off from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are the attributes or the things that you felt like you did that helped make a difference and set you up, right? Like I'm a big believer that separation comes in the preparation. What were the things that you felt like contributed to that? And then kind of moving forward from there, what are the habits and kind of personal rituals that you put into your life that you felt like set you up for success?
Yeah, man, I talk a lot about like obsession. You hear a lot of people say like obsession's a bad thing. I don't want my kid to be obsessed with something. Like, man, you look at all the people that are successful, they're obsessed with what they do.
Kobe was pretty obsessive. Tom Brady was pretty obsessive, right? Like go down through the list and like all the greatest players.
You want to be a 1%er, you better be obsessed with what you're doing. And so for me, like baseball was just this obsession. Training was this obsession. Like when I started to see my body change, I'm like, dude, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Like you put in all this blood and sweat and tears in training to allow yourself to just go play the game, whatever game you're playing, right? So for me, it was this obsession, but I also knew that I needed to have like a delusion, right? For me, intentional delusion's everything. Because when I was 5, I was telling everybody, I'm going to be a big leaguer. I'm going to play in the MLB, and I'll play for free. You know, you could become an adult, and you're like, yeah, I can't play for free, but I'm going to do it still. So for me, it's like, you know, a big part of my success was this like formula I created. And for me, it was preparation plus consistency plus discipline equals success. Because if you can compound those 3 things every single day, you're going to be pretty freaking successful.
All right, let's walk through each one of those individually.
So preparation's first, right?
Preparation.
You always have to prepare, especially in sports, like in life as well. Like you have to prepare for what you're going to execute. And if you can be consistent with that preparation and disciplined with it all, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
It's just compounding.
Yeah.
Right. And we always talk about compounding money and compounding success, but it's like, if you can do things over and over and over, what I call success is it's in the boring work.
Yeah.
Right. It's in the details that nobody sees.
Yep.
And if you can be disciplined to that, like, you're going to be successful. It may not happen right away. Right. Everybody sees successful people. They see you. Right. And they're like, dude, like, man, this guy's so lucky. Like, he got lucky. No, dude, this is years of work of like grinding when nobody's looking, nobody's watching me. And then one day I'm successful.
Yeah. The thing about consequences is that I've just found that most consequences in life don't happen until long after the decisions have been made.
Yeah.
Right. Whether that's positive or whether it's negative. You talk about like being in the gym. Generally, for most people, it's months, not weeks, before you really start to see, increases, gains. And so can you go be consistent for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months before you're really going to start to see some visible changes, right? Because, I mean, I'm right with you. Like, whenever I'm telling people and people are like, oh, I know I just need to get in the gym. I need to get in shape. It's like, look, you're going to have to go do it for probably 3 to 4 months minimum before you're going to like start to see any real results from that, right? You might, drop a few pounds and tighten up a little bit, but it's like, if you really want to make some big changes, it's going to take a long period of time. You didn't get out of shape overnight, and you're not going to get in shape overnight. But the same thing holds true with making bad decisions in life, right? Like, rarely do we ever get immediate consequences for making poor decisions. It's generally over months and over years where someone doesn't work hard in the weight room. Someone doesn't work hard in their job. I see this one all the time. I was visiting with one of my buddies the other day, and he was expressing some frustrations to me about a bunch of people in his organization, right? He works for a big company, and, he's in high level management position, but like often gets frustrated with people, above him or below him, and their standards of, what they're willing to tolerate and what they do. And there are people in their organization they're looking at getting rid of because this guy's been here for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and hasn't done anything in years, right? They come into the office, they show up late, they come to a meeting, they kind of take a lap around, kind of visit with some people, chit chat, maybe answer a few emails, go to a meeting, don't really pay attention. Okay, when can I head to lunch? Go to lunch, come back. But it's like, they're not really contributing. Yeah. And then eventually, like, the company's going to say, hey, you know what? We need to make cuts. And guess who's getting cut? And this dude's like, well, I've been here for 20 years. What do you mean you guys are going to get rid of me? It's like, you've been making all these decisions for years that are putting you in a position where you're going to have to live with a consequence that you don't like. Same thing is true, right? Like, what happens in the dark gets exposed in the light. It's like, if you were just the one putting in that work, grinding, working, studying, preparing, like being obsessive about what you're trying to become the best at, like, your opportunity is eventually going to come. Like, people will eventually notice.
No doubt. I think the biggest thing you hit on right there was a standard, right? Like, for me, and all the athletes I work with and business people I've worked with is they hold themselves to a freaking high standard, right? I'm sure you do the same, right?
Yeah, like, you are your biggest critic.
Yeah, my standard is this.
Yeah.
And if I go below my standard, everybody below me is going to go to that standard.
Yeah.
So, like, I talk a lot about leadership, right? How do you build a leader? I want that standard to be so difficult that it makes everybody else feel uncomfortable. Because you're either going to rise to that standard or you're not. Yeah. And if you're not going to rise to that standard, you're not going to be on this team. So one of the coolest things that during my career is I was kind of a rookie with Colorado. I'd just gotten traded over there. And I'm in a locker room full of freaking phenoms, like superstars, right? Troy Tulowitzki, Nolan Arenado, Carlos Gonzalez. These guys are all-stars, Gold Gloves. I mean, there's probably 10 dudes on this roster that are either an all-star, have won Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers. And at the end of that year, and like the way I played with fire, man. Like, I wasn't the best player. I knew that, right? Like, I knew who I was, but I was going to go there to kick your ass every day. Like, we're going to war. And at the end of the year, I sat down with my meeting with my manager, and the coolest thing he said to me was like, you set a standard this year because every time you spoke, the veterans listened. And when a veteran can listen to a rookie, there's something that you're setting because they understood that I didn't play for myself. I played for the team. All I want to do is win. Because at the end of the day, like, that's what we all want to do. We're competitors, right? Whether you're in the business world or you're in the sports world, you should want to win.
Yeah.
Losing
life is a
sucks.
competition, right? Like, especially for a man,
Yeah.
like life is a competition all the time, whether you realize it or not. And so the sooner you can embrace that and take on that role and say, you know what, like there's something that I can contribute. And no matter where you're at or what you're doing, you're part of a team, and people respond to people that they feel like have earned something and that have something to contribute. In fact, I was having a conversation earlier today, with another buddy of mine, and he was saying, it's like, yeah, we're having to work with this guy on this particular development. Is like, the dude is just so difficult. Like, he is so difficult. And, with someone who had inherited all of his money, had never, really done anything in his first, project he's ever really done before. So he really doesn't know what he's doing. And he's like, no one can take the guy seriously. No one listens to him. Like, it's really difficult to work with them. And, you just like look at situations like that. It's like, well, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference between someone being a rookie and being able to get respect and attention from guys that have accomplished all these things in their career versus, someone who may be 40, 50, 60 years old, but has never really put in the work or accomplished anything, right? Like, people recognize other people that are working hard, and they'll respond to that. It's like, you know what? Like, this dude may be 22, 23, 24 years old, but there's things I can learn from him. Like, he's working harder than I am. He's grinding, he's studying, he knows how to utilize technology or different tools, or, like, this guy's like on the top of his game. Okay, I can respect him. And it's just natural, right? Like, as human beings, like, we just respect that. Like, we recognize it and you respect it. And it like almost doesn't matter how old someone is. Like, you can see that in someone, and it's like, it just instantly demands respect from the people around you. And I'm a firm believer, like, that's also what creates respect, or what we call confidence in yourself, right? Like, I've long said that confidence comes from having a stack of evidence that you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And so every single day, pushing yourself to do something that's uncomfortable, push yourself to wake up early, push yourself to do something you don't like doing, push yourself to get to the gym, push yourself to learn a new skill, push yourself to have a conversation you don't want to have, push yourself to, like, being uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden, when a situation arises that you're like, oh crap, like, I don't know what to do here. But you know what? Like, I can figure it out. I can do it. Why? Because I have this massive stack of evidence that I can do hard things.
Get through it.
Yeah. And it's all in, like, just stacking those days, right? Stacking the receipts, doing all that work. And without that work, the confidence never comes.
Yeah. And that's, for me, like baseball is one of those sports where it gives you the best life lessons, because you're literally playing a game where you're gonna fail. And
Talk
so,
about that. Yeah. Let's dive into that. We were talking about this with Sean Rooney last week. Rich, you mentioned that you and Sean have known each other for a long time. It's like, this is one of the things we talked about, is that, like, you're going to go fail. I mean, you can bat 300 and be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, okay, you're going to fail 70% of the time and still be one of the best players to ever play. And so you have to be able to have that next play mentality, right? Sorry to cut you off.
No.
But, like, you have to learn how to fail and then be able to move on and to be okay and to, like, boom, get your confidence back, switch quick.
So, like, for me, when we talk about confidence, because baseball is so, you have to get results.
You do.
To keep a job.
Yep.
Right? Especially when you get into the pro level. But I can't base everything off of my result. My confidence should never come from the result, because I can do everything right in baseball and still go 0 for 4.
Yeah.
Right? I can barrel the ball 4 times and go right to somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's an unfair game, right? It's me hitting versus a pitcher who I don't know what he's throwing.
Yeah.
And sometimes he has you face Darvish, he's got 7 freaking pitchers that all move all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Let alone he's got 7 guys behind him trying to catch my ball.
Yeah.
How freaking fair is that?
Yeah.
Right? So I started playing the game when I started really diving into the mental side of the game, is like, and I learned this from Barry Bonds when I was with the Marlins, is take everybody off the field. Visually, mentally, take them off the field. If I'm one-on-one versus that pitcher and I barrel the baseball, did I win? Absolutely. Because it's the hardest thing to do in all of sports, is hit a round ball with a round bat coming at 100 miles an hour. So if I can barrel it, whether I get out or I get a hit, I win. Okay. So that changed the result-oriented confidence into my preparation should be my confidence. I get my confidence from the way I prepare, the way I do my job, the way I go about my business every single day. Because if I can prepare confidently and I can do the homework, I could study, I just go out there and play the game that I love, right? And I'm confident in it because I've been doing it my whole life.
Yeah.
So for me, like baseball taught me that even in business, right? I tried the real estate route. It wasn't for me because someone else dictated whether I got paid or not. And I'm a person that I like to go get what's mine. I'm an entrepreneur. I think you can be an entrepreneur in real estate, but still you're dependent on somebody else, right? So for me, like when I dove back into the sports world, because I've been doing this when I was playing as well, is I just really felt this sense of like, I can accomplish anything because I can prepare really freaking well in this.
Yeah.
And so it gave me that confidence, like, dude, no matter what someone says, I feel like I know, not that I know more than them, but my knowledge in this game and in the sports world and performance in the mind has been studied for so long in my life that like, I feel like I can't lose. Like there's no losing because I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
So I think that preparation of all those years has created the confidence.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I was listening to a thing from Bryce Harper a little while back where he was talking about, this one particular at bat and talking about having studied that pitcher, right? Like obviously like you get to know certain guys, but there's obviously, hundreds of pitchers in the league. We take all the teams compounded by all their different pitchers, but he knew this matchup was coming. So he was, had been studying that pitcher, had faced him before. And he's like, I knew, okay, this was the situation. Like, I knew this is what I was going to get, right? Okay, he's going to hit me with the fastball inside. Okay, now he's going to want to go away with the slider. He's like, and I just knew, like, I knew the situation came up. It's like, I knew this is what he was going to throw. And so it's like, if he didn't throw that, I would have been absolutely screwed because like, I was just swinging for that, right? Like, that's what I was playing on. But he's like, that's exactly what he threw. And that's connecting. I think it's like, 3-run walk-off shot or whatever. Yeah. And, nukes it. And, we just talked about like my preparation is what put me in a situation to be able to have success, right? Like talk about what some of that preparation is, right? Like it's not just going out and hitting BP.
Yeah.
And
no, it has nothing to do with BP. Because to me, BP is just a feel good, right? You go out there just to feel your swing and hit some homers in front of the fans, like
get loosened up.
Yeah. To me, it's not really work. It's just loosening up, getting ready. The work usually starts the night before. And if you're kind of what Tim Grover calls a cleaner, what I just call a savage is like your preparation starts the night before. So that means like, okay, let's say I had a game where I freaking ran a lot in the outfield. My legs are going to be dead the next day. Am I going into my ice bath after the game? Am I, putting on my compression boots at night when I'm laying in bed? Am I watching film, right, to prepare for the next guy, right? Like for me, Clayton Kershaw owned me during my career. And so I would watch film, and I just talked about this on my social media is the way I flipped the way I thought about facing Clayton Kershaw. You go up there. I've been watching Clayton since I was
all-time great pitcher.
Yeah, freaking Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And I remember just stepping in there all the time and be like, I'm out. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. And I was like, shit, dude. Like, no, he's on the same field to me, wearing a different jersey in front of the same people in the same league. We're on the same playing field. I'm going to freaking rake this guy today. And so I did my preparation. I watched every bat the night before. And I found something. I noticed that he started going fastball away early in the count. Just painting the fastball away. Duh, duh, duh. I said, I'm going to attack that pitch. And I'm going to try to yank it so damn hard. So that first at bat, the next game, I kept that confidence. I know he's going to throw it there. And I'm going to hunt it and I'm going to hit it. Boom. First pitch, out over the plate, hooked it through the hole, base hit off Clayton Kershaw. Second at bat, stayed with the approach. Fastball away, base hit up the middle. So it's like, man, I haven't got a hit off Clayton Kershaw in like 17 at bats, and I just get 2 right away. But it was the preparation. It was the thought process. It was the mental toughness of saying, no, screw this guy. He's good, but I'm better. Yeah, right. And so that preparation starts the night before. And then it leads up to the entire day. Like I tell guys all the time, my days were exactly the same every single day. Right? It's boring. It's monotonous. It's doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different result, which is what?
Insanity. Yeah.
But you got to live in that insanity. So when you're obsessed with something, insanity isn't anything. It's what I do. So you become this person of like, dude, nothing's stopping me. I'm going to do it over and over and over again until I become successful. And people get scared of that. They can't handle that, right? I'm sure in your career, like you had to do the same thing over and over, talk to the same people over
For years.
for years.
For years.
Until something happened.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember that my career, like people that know me know how I tried to quit 3 times in professional baseball. I sucked. Like, plain and simple, I sucked, right? Like, my first 2 years of Pro Bowl, I barely hit 200. And then after that second year, the head scout told me, he's like, hey, you got one more chance or they're going to release you. Ended up having a good year. And then that following year, on my birthday, I get sent back down. Like, dude, so much happened where I remember being in AAA. I'm a call away. And at 4 a.m., I called my pastor because I didn't think I was supposed to be playing baseball anymore. I was so mentally toast that this game had won. Like, it beat me. And I just remember him saying, like, why do you play this game? Do you play this game to get to the big leagues, or do you play this game because you love this game? And it's an opportunity for you to show your faith and everything that he's given you, and then just go play. I was like, the most fun I've ever had when I was 12 years old playing this game. Why? Because nothing mattered.
You didn't worry about anything else.
Didn't worry about what I was hitting, my average, who was watching. And then you get into professional baseball where they're paying you, right? And you've got these people on the internet saying that you suck, and you've got this guy in the organization telling you can't hit. And, for over the last 7 years of my career, everybody's telling me I'm never going to get to the big leagues because I can't hit. And then you start to believe it until one day I said, nah. So like, screw it. Like, I'm going to flip everything. And that was the year I started studying mental performance, started studying the mind, how neuroplasticity works. And I came across this thing where it was just like, your mind, the way the brain works, right? Neuroplasticity is you can tell it whatever you want to tell it, right? Whether it's real or if it's fake, it doesn't understand the difference.
It doesn't know the difference.
Doesn't know the difference. Yeah. So I can rewire the way I think, the way I move to become something that I want to become.
Which isn't that like so liberating to believe, right?
Unreal.
Like it changes the world when people, and I don't think that enough people understand this. So I'm glad that, we're talking about this, because so many people go through life thinking, you know what, I'm destined to be this. This is what my parents were. This is what they did. This is how my dad is. This is how my mom is. This is, whatever. Like, this is all I can do, all I can be. This is all this person said I would amount to. So therefore, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. And the science of neuroplasticity, we now understand that you can rewire the brain to tell it whatever you want to tell it. And then by simply carrying through and following through with that repeatedly, you can rewire your brain to believe something completely different, and you get to shape how your life looks. Yeah. Like, how liberating is that?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But nobody, and I think that's why there's so many unsuccessful people. I'm never going to make it. You look at people and you're like, man, you have so much talent. Like some of the guys I played with that were 100 times better than me, but they had no grind. They had no tenacity. They would get out and tell themselves they suck. I'm like, dude, you have all the talent in the world. Stop telling yourself you suck, because if you say that long enough, you're going to believe it. And then when you believe it, you're just going to suck.
Where do you feel like that came from for you, right? Like, I'm always curious, when you look back over your life, at some point, there are experiences that shape certain things, right? Like, where did you get that different mindset versus other people that didn't get it, right? Like, I look at young athletes all the time, right? Like, I've been coaching youth sports for like 13 years, and it's like, I see this in different athletes, and you see some kids that just have it, right? Like, they just have it. Sometimes they're the biggest, strongest, fastest kid. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're like one of the smaller kids, but certain kids just have it and other kids don't. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that it's kids that have like and this, I guess, isn't just kids, it's people in all walks of life that end up being really successful, is that they almost have like a delusional amount of self-confidence and belief, right? Like, they just have this unbelievable amount of self-confidence. They have a work ethic that stands out above everyone else. Like, they want to compete. They want to be the best at everything they do. They want to be first in every drill. They want to be the one that, like, if someone has questions, they want to be the one helping them. And then it's almost like they carry this belief in a way that they're not good enough, which almost seems like completely contradictory to this, like delusional self-belief. But it's like they feel this need to constantly produce it, right? It's like,
every day.
No, like what's good enough for everyone else isn't good enough for me. And so like having that mixture together, right? Like that delusional self-confidence, that insane work ethic, and then also this, belief that, okay, I'm never going to be good enough, or I may never be good enough, almost like pushes them. And it's like that unique combination that's like, boom, right? And I'm sure you're probably, to that point where you can just like, you can see certain kids and be like, boom, that kid has it.
Yeah.
Like that kid has it.
You see it all the time with kids, but I think to your point is like, there is something that usually happens in someone's life that creates that. For me, I was always gifted athletically. I could always run. I could always jump. Back then we played outside.
Yeah.
Right. Like we
That's
were
all you ever
toilet
did.
papering houses and booking it, right?
Yeah.
Like egging people, booking it. Like I was just getting in trouble.
I
all the
mean,
time.
I've heard of such things, but
and man, I'll be the first to admit I was the biggest punk as a kid.
Yeah.
But it's what shaped me. Because I would run from the cops sometimes when we'd do stuff, and I'd jump fences, and I could just move because I was always moving, right? And nowadays, I think a lot of kids just sit on the couch and watch TV, or they're watching their phone on Instagram, or they're playing video games. Like, bro, go get some air and go jump something, right? But for me, I call it the dark place. And my dark place was who I'd become from about 14 to 16. I hung out with the wrong people. I was doing drugs. I was drinking. And I got arrested twice before I was 17. Once for theft, once for battery, right? So the first time like I said, I was low middle class. Parents were divorced, didn't have a bunch of money. So, right before school started, I wanted to look fly, man. I wanted to have like some hats and some cool clothes. And so I went to Ron John Surf Shop, threw some stuff in my bag, tried to walk out. Sirens went off, the beeper went off, and got handcuffed in the middle of our local mall where pretty much everybody knew me because I was a local like football guy.
Yeah.
So I had a pretty embarrassing moment, right? Being handcuffed and walked through the middle of this mall. And then, about a month later, crazy story because she's my wife now, but my best friend had dated my wife in high school, like for like a month, right? And he became like not obsessed with her, but he like they'd broken up, and she was at this party hanging out with friends, and so he called her on a random night when they had already broken up, and some guy answered her phone, and my buddy and this guy started arguing, and so we're like, yeah, we'll come fight you. And I'm like, dude, you're like 5'5", bro. Yeah. So us are gonna have to fight. So we roll up, and we're in our car, and there's maybe like 8 of us. And we get to this house, and there's like 40 dudes standing outside with their shirts off, like ready to roll. And where my wife grew up was in the rich area, like the nice area. We grew up in the ghetto, so we didn't care. Like 40 dudes, let's go, right? So we pull up and we drive around. And so we're kind of like thinking about it for a second. And this truck comes flying behind us with, I think, 2 or 3 dudes in it. My wife's in the back seat with her friend, and all of a sudden we hit the brakes. My buddy jumps out of the car. Another buddy jumps out of our other car, and my buddy grabs my mag light, like a big cop mag light. And this guy comes out of their truck to the back of their truck. My buddy just sprints at him and hits him straight over the head with a mag light. Fractures his skull. Guy drops. My other buddy's hitting the driver through the window. So the guy that actually hit the guy over the head was on probation already. These are the people that I was kind of hanging out with, right? Now, one of them is still my best friend to this day. But just things I should be. While I had a full ride scholarship to UCLA at this point, I was a junior in high school. And so I just remember my buddy jumping in our car window, like, we got to bail. I'm on probation. And so we roll out, and we're on the 55 highway, and we get pulled over by the cops. And we're like, dang. So we're like, how do they even know? Like, I think my wife had told them what car we were in. And so We get pulled over. We're handcuffed on the side of the highway. The cop knows who I am, this big jack dude. And he's like, man, what are you doing with your life? He goes, I played college football. He goes, what you're doing right now is you're wasting everything that God's given you. Every talent that you have, it's being wasted. And you're going to throw it all away for something stupid. And I just remember being handcuffed on the side of the road and like, what am I doing? Right? Having this realization of I'm wasting my life. And I remember, I had to go through community service. I had to go through, classes and all these different things for the theft and the battery. So I did them at a church. I was like, dude, my buddy's dad's the pastor. I'm going to do this, these hours at the church. And that's kind of what changed my life was my faith from that moment is God put it just in this, like everything I had to do had to collapse for it to grow again. And so going back to your point, that dark place of sitting on the highway is what made me never quit, because I knew that at some point in my life I could have thrown it away and I was never going to do that again. And so it built this like immense wall inside of me that I could just keep everything behind and keep going forward. The pain, the anger, and just keep moving forward because of that dark place. I used it for good, right? Now, a lot of people use that dark place for bad.
Yeah.
But when you learn to use that aggression, that fear, that pain that you've endured in your life, and you use it for good, dude, it's unreal how powerful it is.
It really opens up so many doors because it makes you relatable to a lot of people, right? Like there's a lot of people that can relate with that have grown up in comparable circumstances, have had family go through a divorce, had difficult things happen in their life, made some bad decisions. And I think that, so many people look at people that get to where they want to go and say, oh, well, it was a straight path. Yeah. Like it was just, oh, hey, this dude had it all figured out from the beginning and knew exactly where we wanted to go, never made a mistake along the way. But that's not reality, right? Like everyone's journey kind of looks like this, right? Like everyone has highs, everyone has lows, everyone has ups and downs. And I think that when we take off the mask a little bit, and that's one of the reasons why I love doing a podcast and having this long form content where you get to not just see a little soundbite, like you don't just get to see the, Brandon Barnes in 30 seconds. You don't get to see, oh, hey, base hit off Clayton Kershaw, home run, oh, here's this dude that made it to the bigs or whatever. But you actually like pull back the mask, you pull back the curtain. It's like, this is really what it looks like. Like this is what my journey looked like. This is what my path looked like.
I think, at the end of the day, we're all just real people.
Yeah.
Right. There's just something different about some of us.
And I think that gives, hopefully, like, I believe that gives people hope. Like, oh, you know what? Like, I can relate with this guy. Yeah. Like, I get that. Like, I breathe the same air that he does. You know what? I've been through similar circumstances. And you know what? If he can do it, I can do it. I may be, there's hopefully some 17-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid listening to this, and they're going to say, man, I screwed up. I got arrested. I stole some stuff. I did something stupid. I had something bad happen to me. I made some dumb decisions. But you know what? Like, life's not over.
Yeah.
It's like, I think of this scripture from Isaiah in the Old Testament that God will replace beauty for ashes. And I think that all of us can look at our lives and can say, like, at different points in our lives, like, we've kind of been the ones to burn our own life down. Yeah. Right? We've been the ones to set on fire. We've been the ones that have made the mistake. But it's like, God replaces that. Absolutely. And you go look at these beautiful forests. You go look at, like, okay, when something burns down, what happens? Okay, the ash biodegrades, turns into nitrogen, infuses the soil, new things grow up in their place, and it becomes beautiful. Yep. And often, like, that's the cycle that has to happen, is that we, hit rock bottom of sorts, whatever that looks like in everyone's particular case, but like we go through hard things, have bad things happen to us. Everyone has different forms of adversity in their life. But then it's like, okay, what can you make of that?
Yeah. How can you harness it?
Yeah.
How can you use it for good? And that's why I talk about, like, the dark place, right? There's no pain in the dark place. There's no fear. I talk to a lot of my players in-house. Like, we do, with our teams, we do a challenge every night, or like once a week we'll do a challenge. It's like a plank challenge. It's called Last Man Standing. And I tell them all to find the dark place, find whatever pain you've been in, find this this anger inside of you that you can sit there through pain, through uncomfortable feelings, and find comfort in it. And you're going to really see who you're made of, that you can do really hard things, but you have to go there. You have to face it. Because if you don't face it, you're scared of it. And when you're scared of something, you'll never go through it. So we do the plank challenge, and we had a kid who was battling another kid. And this is when I know they found their dark place, is we were about 7 minutes in the plank.
Wow.
Okay, this kid's shaking, and one kid's just sitting there like a freaking stone. He looks at the other kid and he says, "You've got no freaking chance," and then just turns his head. And I was like, that's the dark place. Because he knows he's not going to stop.
Yeah.
He could be there all day, but he's going to beat that other kid. And so he just started getting in the kid's head. He just started talking to him. And the other kid started to see how calm he was at 9 minutes. And he was like, shit, I'm done. So the kid went about 9 minutes and 11 seconds in a plank challenge, where I wouldn't say he's one of our toughest kids. He's not our biggest kid, but he had found something within himself that created a beast. And it's really cool when you get to see your players and the guys you work with find that place, right? You look at the Kobes, the Michael Jordans, they found that and they exposed it and they just kept going with it, right? And I think being able to watch those guys, I'm from the California area, right? And so getting to watch Kobe's career unfold and study him and study his coach, Tim Grover, like that's some special stuff, and it's deep. But again, you have to have that obsession if you want to be that great. And you see, like we were talking about earlier, is that Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Right. He knew he was going to throw this pitch in this situation. Like that's elite. That is preparing so much and so well that you trust it. Where some guys are going to be like, oh, but what if he throws this? And you're not trusting yourself. You're not trusting that preparation. Then you're not elite. I got to see Miguel Cabrera do this. Miguel Cabrera is probably one of my favorite hitters to watch. We were in spring training with the Astros. We were playing the Tigers. And we have a big sinker ball thrown about 93, just on Miggy's hands. Boom, boom, boom. And I think he gets Miggy to ground out on a sinker inside. Miggy like looks back at our catcher. He goes, he throws me that in the season, I'm going to hit a homer. Like literally, this is spring training. I don't think we played them for like another 4 months. And I remember we're in Houston. We're at Minute Maid Park, and Miguel Cabrera comes up. He's facing the same guy. And so in my guy's head, like my pitcher, he's like, dude, I got him out this way. We're going to get him out again, right? But Miguel Cabrera remembered 4 months ago, because that's how elite his mind is and how well he prepared. Now you look at his body, he's this big kind of guy, but baseball, you don't have to be jacked. You don't have to be chiseled. It's kind of, you got to be a little dumb, but you got to be really smart in baseball terms, right? And so I just remember Miggy got this pitch, and we watched this back on film. He got a pitch that was on the chalk line of the batter's box. Sinker, same pitch he rolled over in spring training. He kept his hands inside that ball so well, he caught barrel and hit it right inside the foul pole for a homer. Did exactly what he was going to say 4 months ago. And that's when the moment I knew that this game in the mind is everything.
For sure.
Because he planned this 4 months ago while he was playing other games in between, right? So he probably had 50 games in between that point. But when he got to that moment against that guy, he remembered. His mind was so elite when it came to baseball. So that's for me when I really started to dive in. Okay, what's next level mind? How does mental toughness work? How does mental performance work? Why are some of these guys so much more ahead of other guys? They're not physically more talented. I mean, Miguel Cabrera couldn't run, couldn't jump, could barely throw, but dude, the guy could hit a freaking baseball and he could outsmart you any day of the week.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's when I really started to dive into the mind.
Which is, you're just describing, that little saying that I have of separation is in the preparation, right? Like when I remember being a freshman in high school and watching film for the first time, right? Like that was kind of like the first time I like really got introduced, like studying and watching film. And it just began to click to me. It's like, everything is all about patterns. Every team that you play, every person you're going to guard, everything is all about patterns. It's like, if you just watch it enough times, you're going to start to recognize the patterns. Now, obviously, the more intelligent you are, the faster you pick up on patterns. But life is all about being able to recognize patterns, whether you're playing baseball, basketball, football, business, anything else. It's all about patterns. And you go watch someone enough times and you recognize patterns. People have patterns. Teams have patterns. Everyone and everything in life is all about patterns. Tony Robbins talks about the two biggest ways to distinguish someone who will be successful is their ability to recognize patterns and then their ability to go implement them. And so the faster you can have pattern recognition, and Tom Brady talks about this in their 2020 Super Bowl run when he was with the Buccaneers. He's like, I knew we were going to face the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs have been killing everyone all season long. Like, I knew the Chiefs were going to be there. So like over a month before, like I'm just like studying film on the Chiefs. Like we're, getting ready to go into our playoff run. He's like, nope, like I'm obviously going to prepare for each of the teams along the way. But he's like, I was studying film on the Chiefs all the way along.
Yeah.
So like by the time we got to Super Bowl week, they have 2 weeks in between the championship game and the Super Bowl. It's like I knew everything about them. And I just studied film nonstop the whole time. It's like I knew their body language. I knew the way they turned their shoulders. I knew the way they looked at each other. I knew everything about like, okay, I'm getting this blitz. I'm getting this coverage. I'm getting this stunt. I mean, like, I just know what I'm going to get because I've watched these guys so much. I've studied every single game all season long and seen every single one of their moves, every stunt, every blitz, every coverage, everything that they do. I know it the second that they show me one of those patterns. And so the game just slows down. It's like I could just go dissect them because I knew. I recognized it. And it's like when players start to see that, and again, like that's a different form of work. Getting in the weight room, super important. Like so important. Can't over stress that. Being in the weight room, eating the right food, getting rest, recovery, like your speed and agility, like all those things, so important. Your skill development work, so important. The mental side of things, both on the preparation as far as understanding the game, understanding your opponents, so important, but also the mindset piece, right? We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I coach people, I coach business owners in this as well. Like I spend a significant amount of time just talking about mindset. We probably spend the first hour and a half of my workshops talking about mindset because people's beliefs begin, like they form the foundation of every other possibility that's open in your life.
Yeah.
And if you have all these limiting beliefs, you're never going to be able to go and accomplish things because you don't even see them.
Yeah.
Right. Like when you see yourself as, having your ceiling 2 feet off the ground, you're never going to be able to go jump to the sky because you don't even think that's possible. Right. And so that component of being able to, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. And so when people can change the way that they see, when people change the way that the world appears to them, possibilities just open up, right?
Yeah.
So when you're coaching athletes, when you're, working with people, what does that look like? Where do you start at? Like when you're taking on someone new that you're working with, what does that look like for you in your development with them?
Yeah. So for me, I just brought on last week a kid from the Tigers. He's 28 years old, been grinding in the minor leagues, knows he's a big leaguer. And finally came to the realization, like, I got to understand the mind, right, in this game. So first thing I do is, like, we'll have a long conversation, right? I just want to understand him, talk to him. Why do you want to learn this? And then what I'll do is I have an assessment for him, right? So I have them answer a bunch of questions. It can go back to when they were a kid because I want to find those dark places. I want to find what makes them tick, what they're scared of, right? And if you ever come across a business owner, an athlete, and they say they're not scared, there's no fear, bullshit.
Yeah.
We're all scared of something. We all fear something. That doesn't mean it debilitates us, right? We understand, like I'm
Fear
sure
can be useful.
you've had fear of losing your business or it failing, right? I remember when I first started this whole new venture, it's like, what if it doesn't work? But what if it does, right? And so I go in and I want to find these things about what scares you to death. And usually with a baseball player or with an athlete, it's the fear of never making it. So I ask them, what does that change if you never make it? Does it change who you are? No. So why does it matter? because you're either going to make it or you're not. It's a 50-50 chance, right? But if I have the mindset and I never think about never making it because I know I'm going to make it, and that's that intentional delusion, you're going to have a better chance of succeeding. Now, there's different tools and resources and mindset tricks and all these different things. Like for him, I told him, hey, like I want you to go out there, because he gets to a point where he gets complacent in his bats. So like the other night he had an at bat where he went first at bat, had a freaking awesome at bat, got a base hit. Second at bat, grinded it out, 7-pitch at bat, got out, right? So 2 great at bats. We call those 2 quality at bats, 2 wins. And his third at bat, he's like, I just got complacent. So on the first pitch, rolled it over. And in my mind, he was like, in my mind, it was like, okay, you know, I had a walk. So at the end of the day, it's going to be 1 for 3. I'm still hitting 300. I said, but you got complacent. You didn't earn anything there. I said, every at bat pays you differently. And he needed to understand that every at bat needs to mean something, because the difference between elite in baseball and average in baseball is 1 at bat. He could have been 2 for 3 instead of 1 for 3. 1 for 3, anybody can do that in AAA. 2 for 3 consistently is very, very hard. And so he was like, shit, you're right. I was like, yeah, I know. I lived it. I did it. So we'll go through all these different things that they fear and have different tools. I've had a guy who's super not confident, right? Has all the talent in the world. So one thing I had him do, and this is a tip that anybody can do, it's just a reframe of your mind and the way you think. And the best times to do it is right before you go to bed and right when you wake up. Tell yourself 5 times. If you want to be the best in the world at something, I'm the best in the world at baseball. 5 times right when I wake up, 5 times right when I go to bed. Why? Because that's the only thing my brain's going to think about while I'm sleeping. And you do that every night for 30 days, you will start to believe it. And it's just little mindset tricks, right? How do we get guys to stop overthinking? We have cue words, right? For me, I walked up to Bob Marley, right? By nature, I'm a very aggressive, I'm going to dominate you and we're going to go to war every day. In baseball, you can't really do that. I can't be over aggressive. So I started to walk out. I had my daughters, so our family, we love reggae music. Bob Marley is one of our favorite. My dog's name is Marley. Or actually, her name's Ziggy. So we came up with the song 3 Little Birds, because everything's going to be all right. And for me, it was a reminder. It was a cue. No matter what happens, every little thing's going to be all right in my life, because baseball's not going to dictate who I am. I dictate who I am. Right? The game does not own me. I own the game.
How do you teach that to young people? Because I think that's such an important component. Yeah. I think that it becomes so natural that when one thing dominates such a huge part of your life, right? And sports specialization is so prevalent now. Kids are specializing in one thing at such an early age, right? I'm a baseball player, I'm a dancer, I'm a soccer player, I'm a football player, basketball player, whatever it is. And that's their life. And that's what they spend more time doing than anything else. And so naturally, their identity gets wrapped up into that. And I would even say in a lot of cases, it gets consumed by that. 100%. Like that becomes the biggest part of their identity. Yeah. And I would say most young athletes don't even know who they are outside of that. Yeah. Right? Like that is such a big part of who they are. Like, well, I can't stop doing this because if it goes away, like I don't even know who I am. Right? Like all I've ever done is play baseball. Yeah. And so if baseball goes away, like I don't even know who I am anymore. Yeah. Right? And so I think that it's so important for parents, for coaches, teachers, mentors, people who are around them to help them to develop the other parts of themselves where you have an identity outside of the thing that you do. Yeah. Baseball may be what you do. It's not who you are. Absolutely. Dance, soccer, football, basketball, whatever. It's like that can be something that you do. It's not who you are. Yeah. Right? First and foremost, you're a child of God. Absolutely. First and foremost. Second, you're a child of someone else. You have parents, you have family. Hopefully you have other people around you that love you and care about you. Like that is another part of your identity. You're a friend, maybe a father, a mother, son, daughter, cousin, whatever. But you have all these other things that help make you who you are. And I think it's really important for kids to have other things that they like doing besides just that one. Like, hey, basketball can be a thing, but you know what? Let's go golf. Like, I want you to like golfing. I want you to like skiing. I want you to like boating. I want you to like different things, not because I'm trying to take away from that other thing, but like I want you to have more to your identity, just that one thing, because at some point the ball stops bouncing for everyone.
100%. And I had to deal with that, right? I remember vividly the day I called it. It was after playing in Korea. I knew I didn't want to play in the States anymore. I didn't want to play minor league baseball and grind and for $100,000.
Yeah.
I had 2 kids. Well, actually, at that point, I had 3 kids because I had my 3rd daughter while I was in Korea. And I remember sitting in my truck, parked in front of my house, and writing like my Instagram retirement post,
Yeah.
right? And just sitting there and like crying, because the first thing is I've been able to do this game, play this game for 30 years, right? Since I was 5 years old till I was 35, I got to play baseball for a living, which freaking rad, right? Like you get to play a child's game for most of your life. But I realized in that moment, I never get to do the one thing that I loved almost more than anything, right? Ever again, competitively.
Yeah.
Right. And then you find this battle of like, okay, who am I now? Like I always knew that baseball wasn't who I was. It's what I did. But what's next? Who am I away from the game?
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to figure that out. It took battling depression, battling anxiety, stress, debt, like all those things, because you just don't know where the money's coming from next. Like for 16 years, I knew that a team was going to pay me every day or every 15 days. And that's all I knew. Like I put sports above school because I knew, right? We talk about being obsessed and having that delusion. School was not going to pay me, right? And I'm not a big component of the school system anyways.
Yeah.
I think you get really good at memorization and not learning things.
You get told what to think, not how to think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the moment I started asking questions in school, I realized it wasn't for me. And that's okay, right? School's for some people. But I think to the identity issue, and I have 3 daughters that my 2 oldest play sports. I know your daughter dances.
Yeah.
My middle daughter dances super competitive. To a point, like when we moved here, we kind of shopped around in studios and found one. Stayed there a couple years, wasn't for us. Came to another studio, wasn't for us. But through that, my daughter has a lot of anxiety because of the studio. She deals with a lot of different things because she is really good. She is uber competitive. And when you're in a studio, it gets competitive.
Very.
There's some toxic things that happen. So, one thing that I've always done with my kids, and I advise people to do this with their kids, it's super simple. And it's again, rewiring the way they think about themselves and what they do, is every night, since each one was probably about 4 years old, so they can really say it. And my 5-year-old's now doing it and she can say it back. Is every night I'll kiss them before they go to bed, right on the forehead, and I'll tell them, hey, you can be whatever you want to be. Okay. Every night, since they were 4 years old, I told them, you can be whatever you want to be. But they have to say back, if I'm willing to pay the price. And so they understand they can do whatever they want in life, but there's a price to pay for that, right? And that price could be your sanity. That price could be friendships. That price could be money. It could be a lot of different things. But at least they understand that if they want something bad enough, they have to go pay the price for it. And being obsessed with your craft, you lose a lot of things in life. And you have to be okay with that. I lost friendships, right? When all my buddies were partying when we were 20 years old and they're hanging out in Newport Beach and doing all these things, my ass was grinding. I was like, hey, I'm going in early tonight. Or I'm on the other side of the country playing baseball in Greenville, Tennessee, where nobody knows, and there's only an Applebee's and a freaking Waffle House, right? But that's what I was chasing. I was chasing something up here where, sometimes you hang out with people that are lower than you.
You hang out with 5 broke people, you're going to be the 6th one, right? But it's
like,
but you are the company. You are the company that you
standards.
keep, right? And and that's the reality. I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people to do, is to show me your friends and I'll show you your future and the people that you hang around. And sometimes, if you grow up with a certain group of people, you eventually, if you don't choose to go a different route, like you're going to be just like them.
Yeah.
If you choose a different route, like you're just going to have fewer things in common. Right. And so I'm a firm believer, like you should have multiple groups of friends throughout your life at different phases. You grew up with a certain group of friends. That's great. You became friends with them because you had a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
You lived in the same neighborhood. You went to the same schools. You played the same sports. You were on the same teams, whatever. So you have these things in common. You get a little bit older. People start, diverging in their decisions that they're
Yeah,
making.
we call it friends by proximity.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You grow up with these people because you go to the same high school. You went to the same elementary school, and they're your friends because you're always around them.
Yep.
But guess what? When life freaking happens and everybody scatters, who's really a friend?
Yep.
Right? How much are you keeping in contact with them? And I have with my best friend. I have two best friends that I've had since I was probably about 9 years old. One super successful in one industry, one super successful in another. One I didn't think was going to be super successful at all, but he is. And I think that was because I set a standard and he watched it, and then we kind of pushed each other because we're all
That's what good
always
friends should do.
uber competitive against each other. But I was willing to let go of things. I was willing to go across the country at 18, 19 years old, leave my family with no money in my pocket to chase a dream. And you got to be kind of freaking crazy to do that at 18 years old. I wasn't handed $1 million in a signing bonus, right? I was handed a little bit where I could pay my own bills because when I got drafted, my parents said, here's all your bills, right? Like they're like, you make more money than us now. So I had to learn very quickly. But that's what created me, right? That's what set me on the path of success, whether it be in baseball or the next venture.
Yeah.
Is I was never handed anything. I had to work my ass off for it.
And that's really where it comes, right? It's like the man who chops his own wood benefits both from the outcome and from what he learned in doing it. And like that's just how life is, right? Like you benefit not only from what you get from it directly, but what you learn from it, right? Like baseball may not be who you are, it's what you did, but what you learn from it gets to go with you forever.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it paid you benefits along the way, right? You're getting paid along the way, but then it's also paying you in, okay, do you take all these lessons with you? And what can you take from that? And how can you take that to go be successful as a husband, as a father, as a mentor, and in, whatever that next phase of life looks like. And I'm just a firm believer that everything that we do in life should bring two benefits, right? It should bring the immediate benefit of what am I trying to accomplish from this, but then it should have the long-term benefit. And generally, if you have to sacrifice one, sacrifice the short-term benefit for the long-term benefit.
Always. Yeah. There's going to be some sacrifice. And I know a lot of people aren't willing to sacrifice things. And I call it selfishness. If you're not willing to sacrifice something to gain something, you're being selfish. And for me, like I'll sacrifice anything for my family. I'll sacrifice my life. Like that's how I think a man and a husband should operate. Now, I would also give up my sanity to make sure that they're sane, right? I will do whatever I possibly can. And I told my wife this very young. I said, hey, if you marry me, my job is to make sure that you never work a day in your life. If you want to, great. But my job is to make sure that you never have to do that. I want you raising the kids if that's what you want to do. I'm not going to make you do anything. But if we have the same values and the same standards, I think our lives can align very well.
Yeah.
And so you set those standards at a young age. And if you can set those standards and stay by them, stay disciplined within them, and compound them over years, success is going to happen, right? But too many times, people aren't willing to be disciplined, to do the hard thing over and over again. And you see it in our society, right? January 1, how many freaking people are in the gym? It's packed, right? January 12th, there's nobody in the freaking gym because 2 weeks is freaking hard. And it's too hard to wake up at 5 a.m. when I got to go to work at 6:30. Okay, so you're not willing to sacrifice an hour of your sleep to make sure that your health is better. That's selfish. That's not only selfish to you, but that's selfish to the people that love you, the people that want to watch you be better, right? And so to me, a lot of it is selfishness. And our society is so freaking selfish. You see it everywhere. It's about me, me, me. Who the hell are you helping? Who are you helping rise up, get to the next level in their life? And that's why I like the coaching sector. Like you talked about, you coach other business.
Yeah.
Like I get so much joy from helping someone level up that I like feels like I just leveled up as well, right? And that comes from just a will to want to help people. I think too many people want things, but don't want to give and to help.
And I I believe that's wired into us, much like with food. Does everyone like desserts and sweets? Of course, right? But what does our body really yearn for? Our body really yearns for nourishment, right? For good food, for whole foods, for things that are actually going to nourish it and take care of it. So it's like there's the one part of your body or your brain that's like, oh, hey, I want the dopamine hit from that sugar and from those carbs. I want to go eat something that tastes good versus my body yearns for something to fuel it. Yeah. I think the same thing is true with our spirit, right? Like, okay, this is really enticing. This gives me an immediate benefit. This is really easy. Versus, I believe that God has wired us in a way that what brings us the ultimate form of joy is the same thing that brings him the ultimate form of joy. And that's seeing other people progress. That's seeing other people be happy. That's seeing other people grow and develop. And so the more time that we put into that, it's just like putting good food into your body. Yeah, this might seem easy. This might seem like it brings an immediate reward, but it's ultimately like making the right choices. Yep. Like good choices don't make life easy, but they make it easier.
Yeah.
Right. So Brandon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us today. If people want to get in touch with you, people want to connect, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you, to get in touch with you?
Yeah. First, just go hit me up on Instagram at BrandonBarnes_1. You can hit me up at Brandon@bbperformancelab.com. I am now, I'm on YouTube, but I'm jumping into more long form content to try to break down more things in the performance world when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to the mind, right? Mental toughness, mindset, how to systemize your day, how to structure it as an athlete or as a high performer to make sure that you're getting the most out of your day every single day. So I'm going to be documenting a lot of that on my YouTube, and that is Brandon Barnes, PES, Performance Enhancement Specialist. So yeah, check me out.
Love it. Well, I feel like we could talk for like 2 or 3 more hours. So we have to have you come back for another episode after this. But Brandon, appreciate you being here with us today.
No, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Love it.